Gripping the bark, Claire felt the roughness on her hands. Astrid and Frida, along with my sister, made this look way easier than it actually is. She grumbled to herself. Couldn't we have carved out stairs? Bill was heard complaining as he climbed the fallen tree. Reaching the top, there was some grunts from the others. Claire stood upon getting to the top. The first thing she noticed was being higher than expected. Compared to the cliff, the tree wasn't taller, but there was a greater feeling of trepidation, having to make sure not to fall off. Testing the footing with his shoes, Tommy said, "We're lucky that it hadn't rained in a while. I could imagine this idea would be a lot worse with how slippery the bark could be." He looked to Claire and Hannah. "Be careful of your footing. Even if it's not too high up, falling off of this thing would still hurt," he cautioned the two girls. "Don't worry," Hannah grinned. "With how big this tree is, it's a lot easier balancing on it than I expected." Claire noticed that Tommy, Bill, Hannah, and her were the only ones on the side of the river they started on. Everyone else had begun the process of crossing the river or had already crossed it. On the other side, Astrid and Frida were jumping down, their calm disposition adding to how little trouble it was to navigate the makeshift bridge. "I guess we need to catch up," Bill commented, seeing the two women already reaching the other side. He began walking, but careful to not lose his balance. Claire followed after Bill. Walking on the tree, she tried to get used to the sensation of being high up. The feeling was stronger when she noticed the river flowing under her. A slight mist could be felt when she reached the middle. "It really is wide," she commented to no one in particular. A part of her wanted to look back to check up on Hannah, but she worried that doing such an act would cause her to fall into the river. Deciding against it, she focused on making her way to where the others were gathering. "You can do it!" Candace yelled out encouragingly. Claire couldn't help but smile at the supportive words of her sister. Getting past the river, Claire looked for an empty spot for her to land. Seeing the ground so far below her, there was a moment of hesitation, but it didn't take long for her to leap off of the tree. Upon landing on the ground, Claire made sure to keep her knees bent, but she still slipped on the grassy moss, landing on her butt. "Not bad." Brooke went over to where Claire was on the ground. "I think it'd be better to not land on my butt," Claire remarked, shrugging at Claire's comment. "I mean, that's ideal, but considering you don't specialize in being an adventurer, I think you get a pass for not freezing up there." There was a grunt off to Claire's side. "It's harder than it looks," Hannah said. Claire giggled at seeing a friend in the same position as her. "You okay?" she asked. Hannah laughed. "It looks more painful than it feels. I think the moss helps a lot with cushioning the impact, though it's also why I slipped." "You're doing fine," Bill said to his sister. He offered a hand and helped Hannah get back on her feet. "I still sometimes land on my butt after jumping from such a height." "Thanks, Bill," Hannah said. She gave him a hug. Tommy landed on the ground with little effort, being the last and making sure no one had fallen into the river. Walking back from where she was talking with Astrid and Frida, Abby said, "Let's keep on going deeper into the forest. I want to try and explore more and see if there's anything to report before we stop for the night." Getting off the ground, Claire patted her butt and brushed off any dirt and moss. Compared to the other side, there was a cliff, but Instead of being the only way, a part of it had a nice slope where they may be able to walk up.